Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I welcome you to the program, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as a teacher. So, in this program, we are trying to explore and learn the strategies and the practices that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam adopted and that he used. So, we are trying to learn about the teaching strategies of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the way he taught his companions, the way he taught his family members, and the way he taught the people who were around him. So one of the qualities of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a teacher, as muallim, was to be more articulate. And if we talk about articulation, so that is one of the most important things. To be articulate and to be more articulate refers to speaking clearly. The people should be able to understand what you are saying. So this is all about speaking clearly and in the way that people are able to understand what you are saying. So if we talk about communication skills, listening is something that is considered very important if you are trying to communicate to the people, communicate with people effectively. So the first step is, of course, effective listening. And the pillar of this skill that is called listening is, of course, if someone is able to speak clearly, then the people will be able to understand what he's saying. So speaking and listening both have a correlation. So in order to let people understand what you are saying, you must be able to speak clearly. Your words should be very clear. You should be speaking not at a pace that people are not able to follow what you are saying. So Sayyida Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, the mother of believers, Ummul Mumineen, she once said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never continue speaking without pauses like the way you people do. You speak without pauses. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would speak clearly and with pauses. So the one who was sitting there was able to learn and was able to remember what he said. So this was the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to speak clearly and to take pauses and to articulate what you are saying. The words should be understandable for everyone. And sometimes the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we read in the hadith, we also learn in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he would repeat sometimes words again and again, like repeating the words thrice. So those who were around him were able to remember what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was saying. It means that as a teacher, you should speak so that your students can understand. So you should take some pauses, you should speak clearly, and your objective should not only be to just deliver your lesson and to just talk and without thinking about without thinking that your words are being understood or not. So you should be focusing on the understanding of your students. So you should be speaking so that your students may be able to understand what you are saying. So, and this is only possible if you speak clearly, if you do not speak very fast. So the pace of your words and the pace of your speaking should be very reasonable. And we also read kallimun nasa ala qadri uqulihim, that you should talk to people as per their mental level. So if you are talking to children, so you should be thinking about the selection of words, right? The words should not be like the words you use while talking with adults. So if you are talking to children, so of course at that time you should be selecting and choosing the words that are understandable for children. And similarly, if you are talking to adults, so the words should be like little bit and then you can select a little bit complex words. And again, it depends what kind of listeners are there. If they belong to a community, if they belong to if they are people like who have a strong academic background, then of course then you can use technical words and terms. But if they are just layman, if they are just common people, so you should not be using technical terms or words. So your focus should not only be to exhibiting and showing that you are a learned person, but the focus should be that the people who are listening to you are able to understand what you are saying. So this is, the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that as a teacher you should speak very clearly. And this is something that nowadays we learn, this in the art of communication. If we talk about art of communication, there are some aspects that are that fall under verbal communication, and there are some aspects that fall under non-verbal communication. So if we talk about just verbal communication, so you are using words, you are using different things, you are using text. But as far as non-verbal communication is concerned, so it's all about the things like your body language, your gestures, your voice, and even your silence, and even the pauses that you take. So non-verbal communication and non-verbal or paraverbal aspects of your communication, these are very important, and they make a strong impact on your communication and the way you are explaining the things to your listeners and to your audience. So teacher should be an effective communicator. As a teacher, and we learn this in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you should be communicating the things effectively. You should be focusing on the mentality of your listeners and the way they are able to understand what you are saying. And another important thing is that you should also be thinking about asking questions for more clarity. You should ask, once you have said something to your students, to learners, to the learners, so then you should ask the questions in order to see clarity whether what you have said is being understood by your learners or not. So in this way, by asking questions, by seeking clarity, by speaking clearly and learning to be more articulate, you can become an effective teacher. And this is what we learn in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when he taught his companions, when he explained anything to his companions, so he spoke clearly. He was very articulate at that time. He was very articulate, and he would repeat the things again and again, so that the people may remember what he was saying. So inshallah we'll explore further aspects, and inshallah we'll explore more teaching strategies in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our next episodes.